I know it may be hard to believe from the looks of things right now, but I wasn't always this happy, and I wasn't always smiling, especially in school. You see, unlike the most of us, I remember first grade vividly. I remember walking through the halls and feeling that I was utterly worthless. In first grade, I was completely ashamed of who I was. Unfortunately, the school system pretty much validated my opinion that I was the stupidest kid alive. Not to their own fault, but the effect was still the same. You see, every day when I arrived to school, I would be taken out of class into a separate room, and a teacher, a different teacher every day, because they keep rotating so they don't get super frustrated with me, but a teacher every day would give their best attempt to teach me how to read and write and do math. And unfortunately, it just wouldn't compute. I wouldn't retain a single thing. And now that I'm older, I feel a little bad for the teachers because, as much as it had an impact on my self-esteem, it couldn't have been good for theirs. They must have been thinking, oh my God, I'm the worst teacher in the world. I can't teach this kid. But that's not the point. So anyway, when I would arrive to class for like recess and lunch, the things that I was mentally able to partake in, that wasn't the greatest time for me either. Unlike most parents think, their children aren't the little angels they believe them to be in first grade. Kids can be really mean, and they were. They noticed that I couldn't read and write and do math, and they frequently pointed it out to me as if I forgot. So, it's safe to say that first grade was really, really hard. Lucky enough for me, though, that my parents were psychologists, because they were able to notice that something was wrong, something wasn't right here. Because they saw that, I was a smart kid at home, I could articulate only with them, because that's what I was comfortable with, but I could articulate, I loved Legos, I had an imagination, I was creative. I just couldn't do the schoolwork. So my dad took me to a woman, and she evaluated me, and, it turned out that I have dyslexia. But let's just think about this for a second. When you tell a little kid who's really bad with words, especially big words, that now he has dyslexia, he's not the happiest kid in the world. Not only at that point did I think I was stupid, but on top of that, now I was diseased, which, isn't cool, that doesn't fit into first grade, not good for the rep at all. But I had it, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm dumb, I'm dyslexic, whatever that is, so I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm just going to sit this whole school thing out, don't worry about me, I'll be fine, I'll do my Lego thing. And I just won't care. I will stop caring because it hurts too much to care. But that wasn't okay with my parents at all. So the next year they decided to keep me back a year and transfer me to a new school called Windward, which was a school that specializes in kids with learning differences. Now, even though I hated the first grade where I was, transferring schools wasn't the best thing either, because to me that just meant, oh great, a bunch of new faces that'll make fun of me and tell me I'm stupid. So that's just not cool. But I went there, and immediately I noticed that something was different. I couldn't put my finger on it because, let's remember, I'm in first grade, supposed to be in second grade, but still a young kid. But I could sense that something was better. So that was good. But as I went through Windward, it helped me dramatically. Yet it wasn't easy, because they put me through constant work. Yes, I was learning to read and write and do math, but it was hard. I'd spend hours a night doing homework and then more hours reading with my parents just because they were desperate to get me to read. But you know what? Eventually I could. So now I want to just take this time to fast forward a couple years into high school. And now I've graduated from Windward, and I go to the Pennington High School, and the kid who had no self-worth and really ultimately thought that school was just not for him has now changed into somebody who can advocate for themselves, get the things they need, be it extra time on tests, be it one-on-one with the teacher, anything, I knew what I needed, and I knew how to get what I needed. And I owed that to Windward, which I owed to my dyslexia. So, not only that, but having a learning disability means no matter what way you cut it, there are some times where you just have to work harder. And some of you might think that sucks, but it doesn't. It pays off, because when I got into high school, I was with kids who couldn't even start a paper just because, it was so overwhelming. And they said, how many hours am I going to have to spend? And I knew, look, not only am I going to have to spend 2 hours, but I might have to spend 3. But I'll be okay with that, because I fell in love with success. When I first got that good grade, whenever that was, it was like, I can't even explain it. It was better than the taste of the best hamburger you ever had. You know what I mean? That's what it was, and I was immediately addicted. And I realized that just because I had to work harder does not mean I'm stupider. Recently, I just finished my AP Language and Literary course, and I got a 4 on the AP test. For those of you who don't know, it goes up to 5, but the common score is 3 and 2, and 4 is, viewed as a very good score. So I just want to point out that that same kid who couldn't read till he was 10 years old, with hard work and determination, was able to go from there to here, where he's doing great in high school, going to college, and enjoying learning, has a thirst for knowledge. I know this might sound like a cliche, but I honestly can say I wouldn't trade my dyslexia for the world. Not only has it taught me to work harder and get the things I need, but it's also simply a part of who I am and how I think. And I like how I think. Yes, reading still comes hard to me, but you know what? I love stories, and I love to make stories and write stories. And I owe all that to not only my learning disability, but to the people in my corner and to my own determination. I know it's hard and I know it's a struggle, but if there's any advice I can give, any at all, it's that for those of us, my LD brethren, who are struggling with your learning disability right now, please don't give up. There are people who are here to help you, and you can find that help, and you deserve that help. Just hang in a little longer. See what it is you like, try different ways to learn, and guess what? Eventually something will work. And that's one of the best parts about being learning disabled. We have to find new and innovative ways to work, and when we do, we could be looked at as icons. You don't know. The possibilities are endless. So please, just stay with it and don't give up, because I promise you, once you have that success, it'll all be worth it. However, if there's one thing I wish I had when I was little, it's the eye-to-eye program. I wish there was someone to tell me who was the same as me that everything's going to be okay, and that we're not stupid, we just think differently, and that's the key. I feel like that would have taken so much anxiety off me, and it would have just been great to see that somebody who had undergone the same struggle I was currently going through had made it and succeeded, and is the person that he is, and that if I worked really hard, I could be that. And that's why I think Eye to Eye is making such a difference in these kids' lives, and I'm so incredibly happy and proud and blessed that I can be a part of it. I'm Matt Bloom, and I'm dyslexic, and I am LD and proud to be. Thank you.